Salute. Smash the button. Let's get in here. Let's get it in. Man, that sound like that heat, man. Early. Oh, man, look. Early wake and bake. Exclusive. Wait, we ain't going to be here long. We ain't going to be here long, man. Got to get up and get going. Get going. We're going to get a good show for you, though. A good show to take back with you. Smash that like button if you in the building. We got to heat this channel. This channel, they was trying to make him pass away on me. So we got to rejuvenate him, get him back in the algorithm, get him going. You definitely don't want to do so low of production that you lose your monetization. That's a tip for any YouTuber that we sometimes build up to get that monetization. That takes a lot out of you. And then to just lose it, that's probably not the best way to do it, when you could just pop it and interact with your people, you know? You dig? We getting it going. We're getting it all the way live. Let me see who's in the building. Dickie Foster in the building. Salute. I gotta roll up. Play. We're not gonna play with y'all. We ain't got time to play with y'all today. Lamont Grant in the building. Salute. Bloodthirst in the building. Salute, my brother. I'm gonna send that. I think it's that volume 2. Yeah, I got that volume 2 for you, Bloodthirst. I'm gonna send him off today. Hard and Finished, what up, brother? What is going on, my people? Hope everybody's enjoying the morning. If you're not waking and baking, what are you doing? You know? What are you doing, man? Salute everybody in the building. We talking about keeping the whole litter. It's a topic for today. Keeping the whole litter. You know, this is a lost art. You really don't have to do it all the time, but I think everybody should do it one at least once in your dogging career. You know, we could always make up excuses and, you know, why this, and it's always something that you can make an excuse why you're going to accept money for the puppy. Um, years ago when this social media stuff kind of kicked off with the dogs, because my dude kept sending me these dog groups. And I was like, man, what is this? You know, like it was some nice dogs on there. I was like, man, what is this, man? And next thing you know, I save one, he sent me the one, I save it, save another one. Pretty soon I'm in the dog groups. You know, it's not a coincidence how no matter what disagreements or whatever, your dog people, they're gonna gravitate to you no matter what. You guys gonna always have shit to talk about. When I don't talk to the world about nothing else, you better believe during the day I'm on the phone with my partners. You know, those are the guys when I'm 60, 70, Lord's willing, I'll make it to that. Um, those are the conversations. Those are that's what I'm gonna rather do, man. That's what I'm gonna rather do, man. Talk about some dogs on the back streets and just hanging out, man. Having a good time, man. Appreciate everybody that pulled up. APBT magazine, we doing it. We got a lot for you. If you're looking for the magazine, just go ahead and get in the description of this video. There's a few links in there. That's not everything in there, but when you got enough shit, you could just shoot off a couple shots and you could probably hit something. You dig? If you only got one, that's only one target, man. You know what I'm saying? So we're trying to get it normalized. APBT magazine, get that in your ear. You know what it is. You know, they know what Buck City is, so they need to know what APBT magazine is like as a brand, as a whole, though. Get to the point where, you don't even know who this damn magazine. Damn, who is this? Because there's so much participation. That's what we represent, everybody, all inclusive. Keep the whole litter, man. This concept, it came from a dark time in the APBT world. I'm not going to talk about the Rottweiler world. I'm not going to talk about all the other worlds. I'm just going to talk about the history and the context of where I feel that the word or the term derived from, right? Smack the button, man. We're going to cook just for a little bit. I got to take the boys to school. So you got to look at it from a half full perspective. Also, I'm not going to just bash it, for what it is, but most of the time when people were talking about keeping the whole litter, they were ultimately trying to get the best dog, not necessarily for the confirmation show, right? But for combat. That's what it was. It was, if I sell some of these pups, if I have 7 and I sell 3 of them, at that point, I possibly could have given away the best puppy in the litter. How many of y'all have heard that? Way back in the day or whatever day, right? In a book. It's in books, right? I'll do an article on this. So if it's not in a book, it will be, right? So you don't even want to let one go because of the competition that you're going up against. Your dogs, they're representing you. You want to bring something to the table that is actually outstanding. And, your goal is to outclass everybody else, all the other breeders, everybody else that's got a dog, or not even breeders, just consumers and, guys with dogs. You want to have the best dog. And if you sell one out of the litter, or two or three, that increases your chance of getting rid of that good golden goose. Golden goose. I heard that. I heard it 1,000 times. I heard that same term 1,000 times. The old saying, keep the whole litter so you know what you produced. You can put that into context, right? You want to know what type of dogs you're producing on that level, but from where it came from was more of a competitive thing. So let's note that. I don't want to not put the history on it for the old guys, that that really doesn't mean too much for them other than the performance side of the dogs, and obviously the most important part of the dog standard, right? You cannot ignore that part of it, right? As much as we want to do it and turn these dogs cosmetic, and I think that's what they're turning into because of this new social media. These are actually working, functioning animals, and the way the dog normally looks doesn't always correlate with how good the dog is, So you're going to keep the whole litter because you don't know. You got different size variations. There's a thing, it's size variation. Like, yeah, that dog doesn't look like the best one in the litter, but he also might be 6 or 7 pounds smaller than everybody in the litter, which means that his opponent back in the day will be 6 or 7 pounds smaller than the other dog's opponents, right? So in all, you really wouldn't know based off of just looking at the dog which dog reigns supreme. Okay. Hold up. People wanted to learn consistency in those breedings. I mean, we talk about working man's price and the years that go on. And yeah, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, there were some cheap dogs out there that you could score from some good yards that, kept it kind of old school and just, kept it like that. But you did start to get your commercialized breeds that charge a lot of money for dogs. So this could be an expensive, lengthy process trying to develop a yard. Let's say you don't really know anybody. You got to get it, call somebody in this book. I used to see books and stuff, right? Like my partner, his dad had a bunch of boomerang dogs and, different dogs like that. But for the most part, when you're trying to branch off and do your own thing, in order to do that, you got to kind of get from up under the nest of the comfortability of the people in your area and just kind of branch off and just try something new. Bring something new to the table, something interesting. In my area, people used to like seeing different dogs. If you got a dog off of Luke Kane, or you got a dog off of Champion Boy, or you got a dog off of Champion Bull Boy, or a dog off of Awesome Beast, or you know what I'm saying? All of these dogs. People want to see diversity. People want to see what those dogs look like. So by you bringing something new to the potluck, it sparked a lot of interest. It sparked a lot of conversations. A lot of, people got to appreciate what you were bringing to the potluck, rather if it was good food or not. The dogs had good conformation. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they weren't weight pulling. They've been having a lot of weight pulling events. I would like to bet that there's a huge technique that goes into that from raising these dogs. Just checking that out. Sidebar. Um, Hypothetical scenario. You actually do keep them all. What now? Right? So you got this whole litter, you raised them up. What are you actually waiting for? What are you actually looking for during the process of of all of that? You feel me? Let me get this up here. Raising the pups from day one. These are like pros in my opinion. These are things that you want to put on your list to do because this is going to increase the chance of you actually having a good functionable litter. Early imprinting, that's important, right? I like to get my dogs from people that I know do a lot of that. If I'm not going to do it myself, this is not my litter and I'm shopping, I'm going to be looking at somebody that's doing a lot of early imprinting on their dogs, not just leaving them in the kennel. And then when they get to where they're going, they don't really warm up as fast. I give a dog 2 days to kind of warm up to me. Some of them warm up right away, but just in case they don't, I give them a couple days to warm up. Usually a good socialized dog that knows the environment, you don't really have a chaotic environment. And if you do, you don't just throw him in the environment, you just kind of ease him kind of in there. Doing that, you're not going to have really too many problems. Handling, um, structuring, building confidence. You're structuring this dog. The early imprinting, um, building confidence in the dog. One of my brothers, he had a knack for because he used to get on me like, hey, you don't do nothing with him, you don't do this. I'm like, well, like, bro, you don't know what I'm doing with my dog. But then he'll say that he's got his dog climbing trees and doing, jumping on top of rocks and going down. He was doing a lot with his dog. So I would guarantee that if he did get his hands on a good dog, he's the type of guy that would turn a 10 into an 11. Right. And you got to be that type of person that can take a 4 and turn him into a 6. That's what we mean by that. Feeding schedules, crate training, all of those are important. Your dog's feeding schedule, he's not just all over the place eating, scraps and doing, treats and shit all through the day. You're getting this dog on a religious schedule. Right. That's what you're doing. You're keeping all of them though. You got to keep them in rotation. Right? You're crate training, rotating, yard rotations. I want my dog to be in a crate, on a chain, bungee jump, cable, whatever, zip run, kennel. I want them to be exposed to all, acclimated to all ways of being kept the safe, proper way. I don't want him to be crying because he's never been in a crate before. I don't want him to be trying to jump out of a kennel. I want him to be acclimated and knowing that that's a good spot for him. This is where you're gonna be at for until I move you somewhere else, until it's more movement. Crate training inside, teaching them, letting them know, hey, this is how you behave around here. Socializing without overexposing. Those are the young pups. You want to socialize them, but you don't want to jeopardize their immunity and their immune system. Um, you're taking notes: temperament, drive, nerves, curiosity. I always look at the curious pup that he wants to wander off. He wants to do his own thing. Some of the other pups, they'll act tough around all the other brothers and sisters, but when it's time to wander off and do their own thing, they don't normally uh get like that. You know what I'm saying? The work nobody talks about. You got to have space. Where do you keep all those dogs realistically? Right? Then we'll say, well, if you don't have the space, you don't have the means to do it, don't do the breeding at all. Right? But in this day and age, we can do whatever we want. We got social media outlets. We got, people can pretty much do whatever they want nowadays. Like, you're not going to get me on here uh trying to combat that at all. Okay. Time commitment, cleaning, feeding, rotating, training, all of those type of things. Financial reality, vet care, food, worming, vaccinations, emergencies. Everything that goes into taking care of a whole litter of puppies, and you're keeping them, right? Hypothetical. I think everybody should do it at least once. Feel me? Smash the like button. We're just cooking. Just a little cook. What up, musician? Melee. What up? What up? Salute. Emotional stress, attachment. This is where you blow it right here. Attachment. Attachment versus honest evaluation. That's where you're going to blow it right there. I got a couple partners. This ain't no shot, man, because I always live off a reality and what it is. A lot of us, um, we take we look at a dog that we raised. Let's say you had the litter and you saved them, right? Let's say you saved them. Like, oh, I'm attached to him. There was one dog, man, that used to say that a lot. And then recently, one of my other brothers, was kind of attached to one that he had. The puppy was pretty much lifeless, and he brought him back. And when you do that, you get this emotional attachment to the dog, right? It's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with that, you know. Um, you just gotta know. You gotta know when it's right and when it's not, I guess. If it ain't right, you gotta get it up out of your program. That's my thing when it comes to that. Um, yeah, this is a good one. I like this one. Hold up. Let me get this one. Breeding level decisions. What makes a dog breeding quality versus just a good dog? I think this is where a lot of people are going to drop the ball too, because they might get a litter and they might think in comparison to what they've seen, it's easy to over glorify. Like you might be a prisoner of the moment. You know, you might think that your yard is little more quality than it actually is. And that's when some of those old guys, you know, they'll show you, you know, this old dude will pull up way back in the day in that truck and you think you got this and that, and he'll put something on you that you it'll make you reevaluate your whole program in a sense, you know. So yeah, quality, in my opinion, is how you stand up toward others, toward your peers. How are you amongst your peers? Like if you're the fastest on the football team or if you're the strongest, you know, you're doing things that stand out. This litter is overall in the family of dogs it is, and you know, everything overall is going to give you a better upside, right? Some dogs can be good, but that's them trying their best. They can be good, but they're not great dogs, if that makes sense. And you want them to resemble the great dogs of the past. You want them to have those same demeanor, same, you know, all of that. You want them to have all of that. Now, will you be able to experience that? You know, hey, hopefully, you know, you're somewhere safe and you're responsible, you know, if you're experiencing any of that. But that's what you want. If I go buy a gun from the 1800s, you know, the wars and, you know, way back, um, I don't want it not to work. I'm not going to use it. I'm probably never going to shoot it off, but I don't want just a shell of itself, something that doesn't operate. So I want my dog to be on point. I want my litters, my dogs, you know, when people get them to feel like they're getting something of value, not just something pawned off on them. Like, oh, this is another average dog that they've always been experiencing. You got to understand, some dudes get in this game and they go years and years and years without having a good dog that they can actually say, and other people can vouch, like, yeah, this is a good dog. This is a good bloodline, you know? So when they get met with something great, they definitely gonna notice the difference in the quality of what they had. And sometimes it's just meeting somebody of a higher caliber, meeting another dog man that's on a higher caliber that can show you those things. You feel me? Why patience matters and why rushing creates long-term problems. You're breeding those dogs, you're thinking this, you're looking too far back in the pedigree instead of knowing what type of ingredients that are actually there. Yeah, I can go to the grocery outlet, but if I don't have a list of things that I'm going to get out of this store, I'm going to walk up in here, I'm going to come out with nothing, right? It's the same with breeding. Um, Patience is going to tell you a lot because patience is going to actually tell you what traits that your dogs hold, what this and that. And if you do keep the whole litter, you'll be able to actually know how much of this, how much of that, you know, came out of this litter, although, you know, it can be different variables on depending on who you breed the dog to. But long-term problems, yeah, you could find out at 2, 3 years old that those dogs, they're good, but they're just not better than Steve's dogs. Or, you know, this guy over there, he got better dogs, you know, that got more wind, got more of everything than your dogs. They higher jumpers. You know, your dog is sitting there flat and their dogs is up, moving, energetic, ready, alert. You know, when it something flies by, something go, it's any movement, those dogs are on go, right? Those are some of the characteristics that you want when you're looking for a dog or you're looking at dogs, you know. Let me see. Big Scratch. What up, Big Scratch? Yes, sir. Hey man, everybody in the building, salute. Salute, man. Salute. Just a little morning cook up, little healthy cook up today. Chopping it up. Keep the whole litter. We hear this all the time. I think it's just people were afraid to give up the best dog in the litter. My thing, and I always say that if the litter is that good, it shouldn't matter which one you take. It shouldn't, you know. But the experience of raising a whole litter all the way to the end is an experience that I wouldn't say you'll get a badge of honor for, but you know, you could get a little pendant or something, you know what I'm saying? It shows that you took the because everybody haven't done that. Let's be real. Let's let's just slow down for a minute. Everybody haven't done that, you know. Everybody haven't. And it's a different feeling, right? Some of us have, you know, it's been four pups or something, right? But when you're starting the yard up, you're checking out this bloodline. You want to see what these dogs are all about. The best way to know is to have them right up under you or close by so you can see how they're turning out. Let me see. Let me get some action. Hold up. APBT magazine is for the real bulldog community. History, bloodlines, interviews, health, and culture. Documented the right way. Support Real Bulldog Media. Grab your copies and the 2026 calendar today. APBT Magazine. Preserving the breed, protecting the history. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. How many of y'all seen this? Early favorites that fall off later. How many of y'all seen that? One that you thought was going to be the best one. He's the early favorite, and then now his brother is looking like he was the one, right? These are some of the things that you're going to see. Quiet pups that grow into leaders. Might have been that shy one over there, right? That's the sign of good genetics. Even that one over there, you know, that we didn't think nothing about, he turned out to be a good dog too. The one that everybody counted out. The three that everybody had their eyes on, they turned out to be good. That was no surprise, right? But then all the other ones end up being decent dogs too. To me, that's a litter that I'm gonna have to put an asterisk by because I'm gonna be checking up on that. I'm gonna see how those dogs produce on the next litter, right? Find out who got those. If they're not all in one spot, of course, it's harder to collect data. But if they are, then you know that should make that task easier, right? You know, you're seeing differences between litter mates raised the same way. And I advocate for farming them out, putting them somewhere else because I just think the epigenetics and different things that, the way the dog is bred and the way it's raised is two different, avenues. Like this dog, we could have the same damn thing, but if your dog is doing this, you take them swimming every day, you're socializing them, getting them acclimated to all kind of other things, and then I just got the dog in the backyard, that they're gonna be two different dogs. They're gonna be two different dogs. So you'll be able to see the difference between litter mates raised the exact same way. Like I had these guys on the same feeding schedule, same everything. They had the same chances to do the same stuff, to encourage each other too. Litter mates. I think dogs know. They remember dogs. I don't know if they know if that's my litter mate, but they remember dogs. They remember friendly competition growing old with dogs. And when you move a certain dog or you bring a certain dog to the yard, it changes the atmosphere a little bit. Yeah. Would it teach you about genetics versus environment? You know. What you learn by keeping the whole litter? What you learn, right? You know what the parents are. You know their style. You know their traits. Hypothetically, right? Some of us don't. Some of us don't. But hypothetically speaking, you know their traits. You're knowing how much are they leaning on this side or that side. You know if she's just going to be a vessel, if the female just going to sit there and carry the DNA and just let the male shine, or is she going to try to overshine his genetics? Which traits repeat? Which ones are a fluke? You see this and that. It might only be one dog in there that has those traits, right? Of, let's say, the grandfather. Let's say the son had the traits from the dad, and then he's trying to pass it. The son is trying to pass it down to his kids, and you only get one that have that trait. So what are we looking at? I don't really know what this dog is producing at this point because I only kept one, and he maybe didn't have it. Feel me? The truth about your program, good and bad. You keep that whole litter, you're gonna know the truth about. You're gonna know a lot more about them dogs. You're gonna know a lot more. You're gonna see some of the things you don't like. Maybe it's the demeanor, the attitude of the dogs that you don't like. Some of the other traits popping out. It's gonna pop out the next litter. Let's say the next litter you choose to repeat it, and those same traits are gonna pop out, good or bad. Um, you're gonna have a level of respect for the old timers that did it without shortcuts. People that actually stuck to that model and actually kept those litters. When dog food was $4 a bag, We got to salute them too. Smash that like button. Smash that like button. Let me see. I gotta salute the sponsor. Hold up. Oh, here we go. Salute the sponsor. Hey, get on that Amazon. Check out that Saving Every Puppy. Gonna give you a realistic, idea what it's really hitting for. You breeding these dogs and you're doing things, so that you can see. Like you said, if you're trying to find out which one's the best puppy and which one you're trying to keep the litter to find out who's the best, then you might not want to lose half of them, right? This is gonna square you away. If you already knew, but sometimes people just getting back in. They probably ain't did a litter in 10 years. It's a lot of things you can know, a lot of new science. It's a lot of new stuff that changes every year. So you definitely got to get yourself up to speed. It's a good one. I got a few over here that I'm just, check them out. I don't like to fuck them up. I read them, but I don't like to fuck them up. I like to keep my stuff nice. I probably put them on the shelf, and you feel me? But check it out. It's a good read. Short, talks about everything, pinpoint, so that you can put your little bookmark and little sections that you're having trouble with. This is a good guide for you to run back to. Run back to the guide, and it'll be easy for you to troubleshoot whatever the problem is. You can do it easily. You know, keep as many as you can. Hey, I feel that. That's the logic behind it. It doesn't matter. But back in the day, like I said, them dudes, I talked to a lot of them. They're gonna tell you, keep them all because you might be getting rid of the best one. That's what they're gonna tell you. Keep them all because you might be getting rid of the best one. That's gonna be the main thing that I seen. But I just went down a whole laundry list of stuff. There's plenty more other things that is just gonna fine tune you, and it's gonna get you to know your dogs. I think there should be a litter. Like, yeah, we're not gonna keep all of this or all of that. There's a lot of things that we're not gonna do. But in a lifetime, there might be that perfect breeding. In my perfect world, that would be what I would do. If there's a perfect breeding that I really want to do, and I think real highly of, just do the breeding and just keep them all. You know. Now, I'm not talking about a litter that just turned out to be like 3 pups or 2 pups and you just kept them all. That I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like a 7 pack or something, and like what breeding would that be? What 2 dogs would you breed together that will make you want to keep the whole litter though, that are alive today? We could talk about breeding honey bunch with grand champion buck, and we can talk about that, but that's not going to get us nowhere. What breeding today that you would do that will make you just want to keep the whole litter, right? Anyway, like, oh man, I like this so much. I want to see this out so much. It might be on your yard, dogs you already got, or maybe you're trying to preserve some blood that you do not want to see go away. What breeding would that be that you just absolutely do not want to let none of them go. You want to keep them all. You feel me? And I'm not talking about farming out either. I'm talking about just keeping them all. Like, you know what? Ain't nobody getting none of these. It ain't no use of me even showing nobody because I'm not letting none go. Most dudes, they say they're not letting none go, but I think that's cap. I think that's a sales pitch to be honest, or only one available. You got 10 puppies, but only one is available. I don't know, man. I don't know. Or if you post it more than 5 times and it's not available. I don't know if it's not available. I think you might want a high ticket for it, but I don't know if it's not available. Maybe if I hit that Powerball, I'll hit you up and find out. You feel me? Definitely got to build trust in your dogs, and he or she will go extra mile for you. Yeah, for sure, for sure. You got to build trust in the dog. It starts early. I like to get my hands on them early. That early shaping them and the development, and all of that goes a long way. So I want to make sure I get that in early. And yeah, man, you know what it is, man. Tap in with us though. Tap in with us. We got a lot going on. I'm gonna be on these back streets, man, trying to get some stuff in. Tap in. We're just getting it going, man. We're getting it going early. I got in and off, so I'm gonna be out in the element, get back, maybe put some work in, run my little errands, hit this post office, appreciate all the support, everybody that copped uh the magazine, everything. Every time I check, I see something there, I'll be like, yeah, man, even if it's just a couple jugs, that's what's up, man. Keep it going, keep the haters activated. We got to keep them activated. They won't have shit to do, and we don't give them a whole blueprint and shit that they could try to copy. You feel me? So stay up, and see you guys on the next one. I'm out.